What if the next power outage didn't last a few hours, but several days? It might sound unlikely, but in the last few years we've already seen entire regions lose electricity for far longer than anyone expected. Severe storms, overloaded power grids, cyber threats, and aging infrastructure are putting more pressure on the electrical systems we rely on every single day. Most of us rarely think about it. We flip a switch, plug in our phones, turn on the lights, and assume the power will always be there. But when the grid goes down, even for a short time, everything changes. Refrigerators stop running, phones slowly die, heating and cooling systems shut off, stores close, gas stations stop pumping fuel. And the strange thing is, experts have been quietly warning that the power grid in many countries is becoming more fragile than people realize. So the real question isn't just if outages will happen. The real question is, how long could the next one last? Because if the lights go out for more than a few hours, most homes are far less prepared than they think. And that's where things start to get interesting. The truth is, most people imagine the electrical grid as something strong, stable, and constantly maintained. A massive system built to handle anything. But the reality is far more complicated. Much of the power infrastructure in North America and other developed countries was built decades ago. Some parts of the grid are more than 40 or even 50 years old. Over time, demand for electricity has increased dramatically. More devices, more homes, more data centers, more electric vehicles. Yet the backbone of the system hasn't always evolved at the same pace. Extreme weather events are also becoming more frequent. Heat waves push energy consumption to its limits. Winter storms freeze transmission lines. Hurricanes and wildfires can take entire sections of the grid offline in a matter of minutes. And when one piece of the system fails, it can create a domino effect. A single failure can cascade through multiple regions, leaving thousands, sometimes millions, without power. We've already seen this happen in several major outages around the world. And while utility companies work hard to keep the lights on, the truth is that modern life has become incredibly dependent on electricity. So dependent that even a short disruption can turn into a serious problem. But what many people don't realize is what actually happens inside a home when the power stays off. Longer than expected, because that's when the real challenges begin. Most people imagine a power outage as a temporary inconvenience. The lights go out, maybe the Wi-Fi stops working for a while, and a few hours later everything returns to normal. But the experience feels very different when the outage stretches beyond a few hours. The first thing people notice is the silence. The constant hum of modern life disappears. Refrigerators stop running, air conditioning shuts off, heaters go quiet. Suddenly the house feels unfamiliar. At first, most people assume it will be fixed quickly. They check their phones, maybe look outside to see if the neighbors also lost power. But as the hours pass, a different kind of realization begins to set in. Phones slowly lose battery. Internet disappears. The food in the refrigerator starts warming up. And at night, entire neighborhoods can become completely dark. For families who rely on electricity for heating during winter, the situation can become uncomfortable much faster than expected. In the summer, without cooling systems, homes can heat up quickly. And then there are the smaller things we rarely think about until they stop working. Coffee makers, electric stoves, garage doors, security systems. Modern homes are designed around the assumption that electricity is always available. Without it, even simple routines can suddenly become complicated. Many people remember the massive outages that left cities in the dark for hours, sometimes even days. During those events, people rushed to stores for batteries, generators, and emergency supplies. But by then, it was often too late. And that's when a lot of homeowners start asking a question they never thought about before. Is there a way to produce at least some power at home without depending completely on the grid? Interestingly, more people have started looking into exactly that. Not necessarily to replace the grid entirely, but to have some level of independence if the unexpected happens. And recently, I came across something that shows how some people are starting to do exactly that. Not long ago, while researching how people prepare for long power outages, I came across something interesting. It's called the energy revolution system. And what caught my attention is that it doesn't rely on massive solar installations or expensive equipment that most homeowners simply can't afford. Instead, the concept behind it is surprisingly simple. It's a step-by-step guide that shows how some people are starting to generate small amounts of electricity at home using alternative methods that many of us never learned about growing up. Now, I'm not saying this is the perfect solution for everyone, and it's definitely not about completely replacing the power grid. But what intrigued me is the idea behind it. Having at least some level of energy independence if the unexpected happens. Because when the lights go out, even a small amount of power can make a big difference. Charging a phone, running a small appliance, keeping essential devices working. For many people, that alone can provide a lot of peace of mind. If you're curious about how it works, I left a link in the pinned comment below where you can learn more about the energy revolution system and see the details for yourself. Take a look, explore it, and decide if it's something that could make sense for you. Because the truth is, we can't always control when the next outage might happen. But we can decide how prepared we want to be when it does.